Long ago, in the ancient land of Egypt, a powerful king ruled with absolute authority. This king was known as Pharaoh. Pharaoh commanded vast armies, built massive monuments, and controlled the lives of millions of people. But among those people was a nation living in pain and suffering. They were the Israelites. For generations, the Israelites had been forced into slavery. They worked under the burning sun, building cities and monuments for Pharaoh. Day after day, year after year, their cries for freedom grew louder. They prayed to God for help, and God heard their prayers. Soon, a leader would rise among them, a man chosen for a great purpose. His name was Moses. The birth of Moses. At that time, Pharaoh feared the Israelites were becoming too numerous and powerful, so he made a cruel order. Every newborn Hebrew boy was to be killed, but one brave mother refused to let her baby die. She hid him for months. When she could hide him no longer, she placed him in a small basket and set it gently among the reeds of the Nile River. The baby drifted quietly along the water. Then something unexpected happened. The daughter of Pharaoh came to the river to bathe. She noticed the basket. Curious, she opened it and saw the crying baby. Instead of anger, her heart filled with compassion. She decided to adopt the child. She named him Moses, which means drawn out of the water. And so, the child born to Hebrew slaves grew up in the palace of Pharaoh himself. Moses discovers the truth. Years passed, and Moses grew into a strong and wise man. But one day he discovered something that changed his life forever. He learned the truth about his identity. He was not an Egyptian prince. He was a Hebrew, one of the oppressed Israelites. One day, Moses saw an Egyptian guard beating a Hebrew slave. Anger burned inside him. He stepped in and struck the guard. In the struggle, the guard died. Fearful of Pharaoh's punishment, Moses fled Egypt. He escaped into the wilderness. There, he lived quietly for many years as a shepherd. But his story was far from over. The burning bush. One day, while tending his flock near Mount Sinai, Moses saw something extraordinary. A bush was on fire, but it was not burning up. The flames danced around the bush, yet the bush remained untouched. As Moses approached, he heard a voice. It was the voice of God. God told Moses he had heard the suffering of the Israelites, and Moses had been chosen to lead them to freedom. Moses was afraid. He doubted himself. "How can I stand before Pharaoh?" he asked. But God reassured him, "You will not stand alone." With courage and faith, Moses returned to Egypt. Moses confronts Pharaoh. Moses stood before the mighty Pharaoh and delivered God's message. "Let my people go." But Pharaoh's heart was hard. He refused. Instead, he made the Israelites work even harder. Then God sent a series of powerful signs and disasters upon Egypt. These became known as the 10 plagues. Rivers turned to blood. Frogs covered the land. Darkness swallowed the sky. Each time, Moses returned to Pharaoh with the same command. "Let my people go." But Pharaoh still refused, until the final plague came. After that terrible night, Pharaoh finally gave in. He told Moses and the Israelites to leave Egypt immediately. After generations of slavery, they were finally free. The escape begins. The Israelites quickly gathered their belongings. Families packed what little they had. Children held their parents' hands. Thousands upon thousands of people began walking away from Egypt. Moses led them through the desert. But soon, Pharaoh began to regret his decision. He realized he had lost a huge workforce. His anger returned. Pharaoh ordered his army to chase them. Hundreds of chariots thundered across the desert. The soldiers were determined to bring the Israelites back. Trapped at the Red Sea, soon the Israelites reached a vast body of water. It was the Red Sea. The water stretched endlessly before them, and behind them, the dust of Pharaoh's army was rising in the distance. The Israelites panicked. They cried out in fear. "Why did you bring us here to die?" they asked Moses. But Moses remained calm. He said, "Do not be afraid. Stand firm and watch the deliverance of the Lord." Then God gave Moses a command. "Raise your staff. Stretch out your hand over the sea." The parting of the sea. Moses lifted his staff toward the Red Sea. Suddenly, a powerful wind began to blow. The wind grew stronger and stronger. The waters began to move. Then something incredible happened. The sea began to divide. Walls of water rose on both sides. And in the middle, a dry path appeared. The Israelites stared in amazement. Then Moses led them forward. Thousands of people walked between towering walls of water. Families crossed safely. Animals crossed. Children crossed. All night long, the people of Israel passed through the sea. The final miracle. But Pharaoh's army was right behind them. The soldiers followed into the parted sea. Chariots raced across the dry ground. They believed they could capture the Israelites. But God had other plans. Once the last Israelite reached the other side, God told Moses to stretch out his hand again. Moses raised his staff. The wind stopped, and the waters of the Red Sea came crashing back together. The sea returned to its natural place. Pharaoh's army was defeated. The Israelites stood safely on the far shore. They were finally free. Celebration of freedom. The people watched in awe. They realized the danger was over. Their enemy could no longer reach them. Joy filled their hearts. They sang songs of victory. They praised God for saving them. And Moses' sister Miriam led the people in dancing and celebration. It was a moment they would never forget. A moment of freedom. A moment of faith. The meaning of the story. The story of Moses and the Red Sea is remembered by millions of people around the world. It is a story of courage, a story of faith, and a story of freedom. It reminds us that even when situations seem impossible, hope can appear. Even when the path ahead seems blocked, a way can open. And sometimes the greatest miracles happen when we trust and keep moving forward. Closing. From a baby floating in a basket on the Nile to the leader who guided an entire nation to freedom. The journey of Moses became one of the most powerful stories in human history. And the miracle at the Red Sea continues to inspire people thousands of years later. Because sometimes, when the sea is in front of you and the enemy is behind you, faith can still create a path forward.